I've got a leather skirt on and it keeps squeaking on my chair. Hey guys, it's Alice again and welcome to another university video. Now this is one that I have been asked to do a lot and I've been kind of avoiding it because it is like a kind of tricky subject to cover. It differs with everyone, but I'm going to try my best. I'll offer you some words of wisdom that I might have, I don't know. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't seen all my other university videos, I will leave them linked down below and on screen somewhere. So yeah, let's go. So I actually asked on Twitter a few things that you guys would want to know. So I'm going to start off with those and then I'll kind of just like chat it through. It's just going to be a chatty video, you know? So I'm going to see what you tweeted me. So Caitlin asked, is it worth doing a meal plan? I'd say don't try and stick to a very strict meal plan, because if you have like a plan that crops up, like maybe your friends want to go to the pub for the night or maybe you go to your friend's house, then you can change it. Like, don't stick too strict to your plan. But what I would say is kind of sit down and write a list of all the meals that you like your favorite 10 or so meals and what you need for those, and try and keep stock of those things in your cupboard. The best place to go shopping for food is Lidl or Aldi. They are so much cheaper and they have the same stuff as the bigger supermarkets, but it's a lot cheaper. Obviously that depends on whether you can get to Lidl or Aldi's. Luckily for us in Lincoln there is one, and because I have a car it's not too much of a trek for me to walk backwards and forwards. But I mean, even paying a little bit for a taxi between you and your friends so you can go to Lidl, I feel like the money that you'd save compared to shopping online at a bigger supermarket is going to be a big amount. A lot of the times if you do online orders, which I know is very popular with students, my boyfriend does that, usually you have to have a minimum order of like £20 or £30, I think, so that's the least you can spend. And I know my boyfriend is super guilty of ordering things that don't actually make meals, like just random little bits, whereas I think if you do plan ahead a little bit and plan what different ingredients you need, things that you can use more than once for more than one meal, that'll be really, really helpful. So try and write it all down and figure out what you like and what can kind of like work alongside different things too. Rachel has asked, is it better to pre-drink before going out or getting drinks from the club? I usually pre-drink. Yes, pre-drinking is definitely a good money saver. I love how this has started on food and drink, like this is just me in a video. But yeah, if you want to save some money, it is so much cheaper to get some drinks before you go. Do bear in mind that if you are too drunk before you get to a club, they can refuse you. So don't get too drunk where you can't walk, but get yourself a little bit merry and then you don't have to buy as many drinks or any drinks at all in the club. I am really, really good at getting drunk enough so it kind of lasts throughout the night and then I don't buy anything whilst I'm there. Such a money saver, and then all I end up spending is like the money to get into the club. And I've had a great night and I didn't spend as much money as I could have. Rachel also asked how to budget but still have enough money to buy clothes and have a social life. Now this is the kind of one that depends on your situation. So the government works out how much you get for your student loan depending on how much your parents earn. So I have parents that are kind of in the middle bracket, kind of like lower middle, so I don't get a lot of loan, and it kicks me in the face a lot and it really winds me up because it doesn't mean I have any extra money in my bank account, it just means that my parents do. It's a whole long conversation that could happen. So I mean, I've got friends that are in the lower tier bracket and they get the full amount of loan, which I think is around like £8,500 a year. The lowest bracket, I don't even know what that number is, like how much they give you. But I feel like it honestly depends. My friends can have up to like £3,000-4,000 more per year than I do. And it makes a difference. Like, for example, in first year, my accommodation cost exactly the amount of student loan I had. I think I had, I don't know, £5,500 student loan, and that's what my accommodation was. So as soon as I'd paid my accommodation, all the money I had after that was money that I'd earned myself or that my parents gave me. And for that, I actually had a job. So that's probably the best option if you've worked out your finances aren't going to stretch past you paying your rent, or like don't even cover paying your rent in some circumstances, because that happened to me as well. Then you best bet is getting a job that is kind of flexible around your uni life. A lot of the time university cities have pretty flexible like job systems, so you should be okay at finding one. But yeah, definitely get yourself a job. I worked both days every single weekend, and that was the money that kind of kept me going. That was the money that I spent on clothes and my social life. Luckily, my parents paid for like my food shop because I used to work back in my hometown on a weekend and travel back. So every time I went home, my mum gave me like 2 big shopping bags worth of food. So my parents covered like the necessities of food shopping and toiletries, and the money that I earned myself was for social life. So obviously it depends on what your financial situation is, depends on what your parents can give you, if they can give you anything, but definitely work it out before you go so it doesn't shock you before you get there, because I knew straight up, because of the bracket that I kind of fall into, I don't get enough loan to cover my rent. Like, it's just how it works, and it winds me up so much, but unfortunately we've just got to deal with it. I feel like I'm going to spark like a big debate about fees and money and stuff, but honestly, it's a minefield. It's a minefield. Megan asks, how much do you put aside for personal things like makeup and clothes? So like I've just said, I kind of earn the money for like the fun stuff myself, and my parents made sure that I was always stocked up on food and like toiletries and stuff. So I kind of just paid for myself off of my weekly wage, because I luckily got paid weekly. If you get paid monthly, you need to work out a budget. You need to figure out what you're going to have each like week, otherwise you're going to get to the end of the month and you're going to have run out of money. Luckily, because I got paid weekly, I didn't actually have to like consciously set myself a budget. I'm quite good with money anyway. Like, as every time I got my wage, I would put something in my savings account, no matter how little it was. I'd put something in there, and then I'd leave myself whatever to spend. And like, it was different every single weekend, so I'd give you a number, but honestly it differed from like £50 a weekend to £100 a weekend. Like, honestly, it changed. Sophie asks, is it best or cheaper to go out and do a food shop or order online? I have mentioned this earlier, but I do think my phone is beeping. I do think that ordering online can prove a little bit pricey, and a thing that I've noticed is that you'll order something that you think is in a bigger packet, and when it arrives at your house it's actually small, so you ended up paying more than you thought for the size of the thing, if that makes sense. It's like when you order something from Amazon and it's not what you expected. I've got a hair in my mouth. So yeah, I definitely say going out and buying the stuff is probably a best idea. Don't ever go shopping on an empty stomach, because you will get very hangry and you will pick up the things that you do not need, and it will probably be really bad, unhealthy things too. I am so guilty of that. Also, if you've got like a market stall, like fruit and veg stall in your town, that's a really cheap place to get fruit and veg too, because that's usually a lot cheaper than supermarkets. Velvet Crystals, I like that name, asks, do you get money every month from your student loan, or is that only for your tuition, or is there a separate loan for money to eat and stuff? So I'm going to try my very best to explain this. There's probably someone else that can explain it a lot better than I can, but we get, as students, we get our maintenance loan, which is the loan that pays for your rent and your living stuff, so like your food, whatever. You get your maintenance loan 3 times a year. So I'm going to get one in September, I'm going to get one in January, and I'm going to get one in April. It's split up into 3. So that £5,500-ish I get split up into 3. Obviously, depending on what you get, like some of my friends get £3,000-4,000 more than I do. Some will get less. It depends. They divide that into 3. So I think on the 25th of September, I will get an amount, whatever it is. I haven't looked at it because I know it'll make me upset. And then out of that amount, I am going to pay my rent. So I'm going to pay a chunk of my rent up until... So I'm paying... Wait, this is so hard to explain. So I'll get a chunk and I'm going to pay for like 3 months rent in advance so I can use that money for rent. I actually have worked out that in the first semester, I will only have £8 a week left after I've paid my rent. So that is where getting a job or doing something extra to earn money is going to be necessary, because obviously I don't want to rely on my parents at this point and I need to pay for my life. So I'm going to have £8 a week. I know, and I was in this situation in first year, that some people will be left out of pocket. You'll have minus numbers. Like, my situation isn't the worst. It isn't the best, and it also isn't the worst. £8 a week is something. I'm grateful for that. So yeah, you get your money 3 times a year. Your tuition fee, you don't see, that goes straight to the university. That also comes out 3 times a year. You'll see on student finance that it's all kind of listed and it tells you how much and when and where. But I've never seen that. Like, I pay £9,000 a year and I don't see that. That goes straight to the university and then it gets put on my bill at the end. Some people can get like grants, and I've got a hair and it's really winding me up. Can we not? Yeah, some people are eligible for grants and like bursaries and scholarships. So this is basically money that you don't have to pay back. It's like a gift. All the other stuff I've just talked about is stuff that you have to pay back in time, whereas bursaries, grants and scholarships you don't have to pay back. Unfortunately, I don't qualify for any of those. My boyfriend does, so he gets a bursary of, I don't know how much it is, each time his loan comes in. So he gets that little bit extra money because he qualifies under his parents' income to receive it. So make sure you look underneath your specific university's kind of guidelines and check whether you are eligible for anything extra, because you could be, and it's basically free money because you don't have to pay it back. Again, a lot of my friends do get that maintenance loan. It depends on their like parents' background. Unfortunately, I don't, but it's definitely worth looking into, especially like scholarships. If you're looking into scholarships far enough ahead, you might get some of your like fees paid for. Honestly, look it up. It's like a minefield of confusingness, but if you're getting yourself some free money, I feel like it's worth it. B asks, how do you budget and what do you think is the best method? I can't talk. So I'd say it differs for everyone. The amount of budget you're going to have is going to be different. Pretty much everyone is struggling for money, but sit down, work out how much maintenance loan you are going to get. So for example, on the 25th of September, I am going to get X amount of money. I have also worked out how much rent I need to pay. So I have taken that out of that big chunk of money and I've said goodbye to that money. I will never see that again. That is paying for my rent. So then I have like this little, very small pot of money left over. And that is what I have to sustain me until my next loan comes in January. So work that out. Basically just work out what you're going to get, what you have to pay for your rent, and then how much you're going to have per week. If it works out, you have £50 a week, which is what I had in second year because I was very, very lucky to have cheaper rent last year. I had £40 a week left over of my maintenance loan, so I was like swimming, I was having a great time, and I didn't necessarily need to go and get a job. Obviously I do YouTube, but not like a solid like Saturday job or anything like that. So I was lucky, but like this year, because my rent is higher, I don't have as much, like I said, £8 a week, so I have already taken that into account. I know that I need to be a little bit more frugal. I know that I probably need to go and get a job or work even harder on my YouTube channel. You know, I need to be a little bit more aware of that. So as long as you have worked out the sums before you go and you are mentally prepared for what's happening, it's going to be fine. Honestly, everyone is in the same situation. Usually if you get in with your housemates or whatever, you'll end up chipping in for each other. For food, pasta is the cheapest food ever and it fills you up. Pasta will become your lifesaver. But yeah, I feel like that's all I can say at the minute. I can't think of anything else that I need to cover, but if I have missed anything off, feel free to ask me some questions. I'll reply to your comments down below. And yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Yeah, good luck for anyone going to uni and for the money situation. It will all work out in the end, even if you feel absolutely broke and just bankrupt. You're not, it's fine, it'll work out. I'm still standing, I still have clothes, I'm alright, so you will be. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, hope it was helpful, and I'll see you soon for another one. Bye!